This is the Red All Over preview show for this weekend's game against Cambridge United. Welcome Cambridge to Oakwell. So we're going to preview the game. We're going to talk about the goalkeeper dilemma we've got at the minute, which seems like emergency keeper could be on the way in, but would it be? Is it really worth it at this stage of the season, given that there's not really too much to play for? We'll probably touch a little bit on last week's game as well against Mansfield. First time seeing Connor taking charge from the dugout. So let's get stuck into it. So, Craig, you went on at the weekend, but what did you think of Connor's first game in charge against Mansfield?
I thought it was chaotic at best, especially the first half. I saw no real shape, and I saw nothing particularly different than what we'd seen under Clark. The effort again from the players didn't seem. It just seemed going through the motions and not really trying to push the boat out. As soon as when they scored the first goal, I didn't even say anything about the goal. I just turned to me and I went, "Our keeper's done." Straight away, she looked at me. She went like, "What are you on about?" I went, "He's just snapped his hamstring." I said, "His hamstring's just gone." And she was like, "Oh." And then she watched it replays and she saw what happened. She went, "Oh dear." I'm like, "Yes, oh dear." So, but give Flavel his due. I thought he played well. He grew in confidence as the game went on. Um, so all in all, the game second half were better, but yet again, you're losing. You're going to look better because the other team's not going to attack you as often, and you're going to have more at ball. And the only one decent move we put together all game, we scored from. You know, um, I don't get why you put Benson at right wing back. I know he scored, but that don't make the decision correct. As soon as I saw the starting lineup, I thought he'd gone too far at back to begin with, but I saw him at right wing back. I says, we are putting the most injury-prone player I have ever seen outside of Jack Wilshere in the most athletic position on the pitch, where you need to be the most athletic player. Oh, like he's not going to make this to 90 minutes, but game is due he did. But I just thought it was really funny, and honestly, I just knew from then on we weren't going to win because defensively, I mean, it took a while to get back. What about Lembikisa for?
Hmm.
What's he in team for? If he's not starting over Benson at right wing back, what is the point? It's just like every transfer we've made this season near enough. It's like why? What is the point? It's it just baffles me. Unless it's that bad in training that Benson looks a better option at right wing back. It's it's quite funny. But yeah, I'm just watching each game now, and it's getting worse and worse. And I just can't wait for the season to be over. I'm so done. I'm so past it. I'm not looking forward to fixtures. I'm not even. I didn't even know we were playing Cambridge this weekend until I looked earlier on today. I'm not looking. Anything to do with Barnsley, I'm not interested because the only things I want to see is either board have put the club up for sale, or I don't know, something good. Because all it is just depressing after depressing. That's all it is. Just going straight down league, and nobody seems to be doing aught about it. The silence from the board is absolutely deafening. We had nothing from them. The fans are screaming for them to say something, but yeah, nothing at all. And I'm sure they'll come out with a podcast pretty soon where they'll be coming out with all these good sound bites and everything, and how time for a new era, a new Barnsley, and all this. I'm not up for it. I don't care who we're fetching. Unless the board come out and say I've made mistakes and we're going to change, I'm not getting excited by no manager.
I think it is. I mean, I think it has got to a point now where fans are not wise to it, but it's the club said all last season of judges by his actions, and the actions have taken us backwards, which is it's a statistic. It's literally a fact. It's not a it's not exactly an opinion as such. We're lower down in the league than we were last season. Just on the Benson point that you said there, Craig, I know he played a little bit there over Duff, but it does then definitely raise a question of why we brought in Wan-Bissaka then, because if he's not getting a game, then when you've got O'Keefe then playing out of position to not put him in the side, it does a thing. I not even thought either of Benson in the most physically demanding role on the pitch, and he's known for his robust nature of lasting all 90 for a full season.
No, they can't last a full afternoon in midfield. You mind that wide.
It just reminds me of that player final when he came on as a sub, then went off against Wednesday. Al, you've another talking point of the game, which sort of leaves the game a little bit and has bled into this week, comes from the shirt you've got on there of Jackson Smith out injured, which leaves Flavel and Adam Hayton as the two options. And then also this week it's been discussed of a emergency loan coming in. Out of those two options, what would you like to see us do? Because there's the one end of emergency loan. We've seen that with Luke Steele when he came in and did a really good job for us. Really helped us in that season. But it's almost that point now of the season. If we'd have won on Saturday, there's still a little bit of a glimmer of hope because the results went in our favour of the sides in the top six losing, that we could maybe make it. But now it seems like it's gone. Do you think it'd be fair to give the likes of Flavel a bit of first team experience, almost to the extent of when we were relegated the Championship and Aidan Marsh and everyone got 90 minutes for the last 3 or 4 champ games?
I feel for Kieran. He come on and did a good job. And to be honest, if defence had done their job on Saturday, they'd have had a clean sheet when he come on. So I can't knock him. He was nervous, definitely nervous with his kicking when he come on, but that's going to be unexpected for a young lad, isn't it? So I don't see point in getting an emergency keeper in at this moment in time. The ones we've got on, as loanees, they've not worked out, have they? They've got injured and we haven't seen the best of them. So I don't think getting a loanee keeper in, if it's tomorrow, is not much time to get to know a squad and understand as game plan for Saturday, has he? So I'd stick with Kieran, and then we've got Adam Hayton, haven't we? If to put Hayton, that's all we've got at the moment, young lads. It's a shame, really. That with Kieran, he's had a 6 keeper, and it's just not on, is it? In a season,
I think it's fifth.
like what with Kieran 5th.
Yeah, I think because it's Slanina, Gochi, Killip, Kieran, and who's the other one? There's another one. I'm sure there's 500. It might be 4 actually. BFC stats.
And end of the day, for his confidence, I'd stick with him. Because all you're going to do, you're going to put him back on bench, and he's going to think, well, I stood up for you and come out and did a job for you on Saturday. Where's this put me? I like the lad. I've followed his career as a youngster. He's had a lot of bad injuries and come out of it well. And good luck to Kieran. So it's not up to us, is it? It's up to Connor, and Connor will make that decision when he picks side.
Yeah, where do you sit on this one, Craig? So obviously there's sort of two sides of seeing it, and remember when in the Stendhal season, I think that was the last time we had a emergency keeper, if I remember rightly, when I think it was Davis and Jack Walton, I think at the time, were both injured, and Jake Greatrex were the next one, who lived 4 doors up from me. It were sort of his time and went and brought in Jackson on emergency loan for the Accrington Stanley game.
Midfield, what it? Middlesbrough,
yeah, I thought from Middlesbrough.
I went at that game actually away.
It does feel like one of them of it's only a game, or if it's only going to be a couple of games, then there's no real harm in letting him have a go. Really, is there? It's not that it's like a charity of letting him have a go. He's a professional football at the end of the day, but it's one of those of it wouldn't necessarily be the first choice as such.
Well, I'll give you Connor's perspective. If he's wanted to take this job full time, which is an ambitious guy, and I'm sure he would want that, then he'll want to get a loan in. He'll want to get a loan in because he'll want somebody more experienced in the sticks, and he'll want to gather as many points as he can from now to the end of the season with a chance to get a job at the end of the season. Me, as a fan, I don't see the point in getting anybody in. I really do not see the point in getting another goalkeeper in. Unless it's somebody we're looking at signing in the summer on a free or or paying for them, and it's somebody that we could get in on loan and then agree a future fee for or something. That's the only proviso I'd be wanting to sign somebody under. I don't see the point in getting anybody in. I think Kieran's shown that he's got a good game in him. Like I say, the fans are not going to. The fans are done. The fans aren't interested in league table anymore. They aren't interested in. Um, we just want to see performances, and let's see what this young lad's got. Because yeah, he'll probably not be first team goalkeeper next year, but it could get him a really good loan. Somebody in League Two might see him play for us and think, yeah, that's a goalkeeper we can get in on loan next year and can have him for full season. Then that'll give him some even more experience, and then he could become first team at some point in the future. Yeah, but yeah, for me, no point unless it's going to be somebody that we're going to sign in future.
No, I think it's a fair point that there. If it is something that we could almost leverage in the summer to sort of help out, I'd not thought of it from that angle. Then of potentially doing something like that and then helping out. But it feels like it's been a while, Al, since because Jello's been out for most of the season, that we've sort of had anyone come through with sort of any ghost as such from the academy. We've had the bit part players come through, such as Matty Wolf, Yoga Nathan shown spells, Dale Chapman got chucked in. Not really since Jacob Brown have we had any academy player coming and sort of stake a claim. So it would be nice to have another player come through because I do think it's that one position is playing in the net is a little bit it's different compared to everything else of as long as you stop that ball going at net, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how old you are, how big you are, or whatever. As long as that ball ain't going at net, you're doing your job correctly. And it's probably the one way you can get away with it a little bit more, maybe being inexperienced and making up for it potentially in athleticism and things like that, and almost a naivety in a way, sort of being helpful as opposed to playing outfield in that. So there is a bit of a chance there because we saw it with Jack Walton that season. When we went down on the final day at Derby when he got chucked in by Jose Marias for the last 10 games and he was probably the player that came out of that season been like, we've actually got a decent keeper here that could do a job in the future.
Dave Watson, didn't he? He come through intermediates at Barnsley. Look what Dave Watson did.
Mm.
Gone into a Premiership with a keeper in Premiership, wasn't he, Dave? So it can happen, and they can. I think goalkeepers I've got probably a better chance of breaking in and making a career of it. I think, did I say at weekend that Yoga Nathan got his first goal as well at weekend? So
in a big derby as well, Oldham Rochdale it was.
Yeah, so I mean, it looks like he's progressing well out on loan. So, and talking about Jallo, I've seen this week that Jallo's actually been training with first team. It's still saying Doug says he's still injured, but I've seen him with first team. So, does that mean that they're going to get him back early? And he told us in box it was going to be 3 weeks before he were coming to get back in training. Does that mean he's going to be on bench? Could he be on bench? Could he get 10 minutes, 15 minutes? I don't know. Would we risk him if we needed to? But our injury problems are an immense, aren't they, at the moment? We cut Earl, Gent, Jackson Smith, and then we've Doubts, Overpines and Mark Roberts, which Roberts come off half-time on Saturday, didn't he? So if that's the case, we're struggling. I know we're going to talk about Cambridge.
Mm-hmm.
As back three, hopefully Pines has got is up to fitness and he fills that gap.
Yeah, otherwise it is yet another gap that we've got open. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, sort of on that keeper discussion of would you let Kieran Flavel have sort of the rest of the season, or however many games it's going to be, or would you like to see an emergency loan come in? Because I see the point you raised there, Craig, of there's still mathematically a chance of playoffs and whatever, but there is also the other deciding factor of Connor's going to want to get as many points as possible because he's basically on a 10-game job interview. From now to the end of the season, so there's a little bit of pressure on it in that sense. And as Al's mentioned there, Cambridge United, the visitors to Oakwell this week, and so Looking at the stats pack, manager Neil Harris, top scorer Elias Kachunga with 6, 23rd in the league, 1 point off bottom. Form, 4 losses, 1 win in their last 5. Key player Josh Stokes on loan from Bristol City. Formation 4-2-3-1, and Cambridge have the worst away form in the division. 2 wins, 4 draws, and 13 losses away from home. I think scoring 13, conceding 36 in that time as well. So, Craig, it feels like one of those sides where if we are to sort of get any sort of form back together or sort of give fans something tangible to hang on to going into this last little running now of the season, it's going to be this game because you look at Cambridge, they're more or less all but gone from the league this season. They've had a bit of a torrid time of it, especially under Gary Monk before Neil Harris came in. So it's not really. It feels like one of those dead rubber games in the season. It's more for Cambridge to play for than us as such.
Well, this is the sort of game I've been looking at. I've been going, it's just a chance to go out and get some goals, get some confidence. A team we should be walking over, blah blah blah. But we are performances recently. I think they've got just as much a chance as we have as performing well. They've got some good experienced players, and they're not totally dead and buried. Got Michael Morrison at back. I think he's a fantastic defender. Obviously, championship defender for a large part of his career. Paul Digby, Jordan Cousins, these are players that also played in championship. They've got, like I said, they've got a lot of good players. Scott Malone's, I think, is a fantastic wing back. So I'm not going thinking we should walk over them, especially being at home. It gives me even less confidence being at home. Even with their away form. Like I said, being a Barnsley fan at the minute, there's not many positives. At least being at home should be one of them, and it's just not. It's a negative. I'd rather us be playing away. I'd have more confidence. But I'll be there in the stadium, stupidly again. Look, I think we should win. We should win. We should win pretty handily as well. I just want to see a good performance, to be quite honest. I want to see something different. I want to see something tangible. I can say that's what Connor's bringing to this team. That's what Connor's changed. That player. Look at how he's running for Connor, and he didn't play like that under Clark. I want to see something different, because if it's just going to be looking and the players are going to be playing and the shape is just going to be the same as what Clark had, then I don't want it, because that obviously didn't work. So yeah, I just want something to hang me out on. I'll be quite honest. And I think I'm saying I think we'll win. I really don't know. Let's just not lose.
I like it's got to that point of the season now where we're playing 23rd in the league and going, I hope we don't lose against these. We're supposed to be a side that's going in for playoffs and promotion, and we're saying let's hope for a decent performance in 23rd. Al, a lot of previous Reds in this Cambridge side: Gary Gardner, Corey Smith, Paul Digby, just to name a few of them. So a bit of a reunion way, especially because Gary Gardner was all right for us, Corey Smith all right, Paul Digby more injury prone than anything else for us during that time, but seems to have sort of made a claim as part of this Cambridge United side. I think he's been there now for 4 seasons and been almost a central part of that. He's always played every season and looked quite handy for him.
It does. I think Digby, if I remember rightly, we were there. He made his debut for against Spurs, I think, in a cup match. Was that at Wembley, Kate? I don't know if it was where they played that one, Spurs, before their stadium. Yes, that was Wembley. It was Wembley, yeah. So, yeah, Gary Gardner's injured, I think. Danny Andrew, George Thomas, Corey Smith's injured. They've got a lot of injuries. Zinibson, Rossi, Taylor Richards, Shane Lavery, Mamadou Joe, Marco Morosi, and Glenn McConnell. They've more injuries than what we've got. So, they lost on Saturday, didn't they? 1-0 at home to Peterborough. But Barnsley, we're the team that just keeps giving. So, even though the 23rd, Connor's got to work hard this week to get a style of play. And for me, to ensure we don't concede after 76 minutes, that'd be a bonus for me. I mean, with Zoo there in November, sorry. I think 16th of November, 16th of November. They got a cheap goal. I think MDG should have kicked it out a play, and he tried to play it out and got pinched, and they went 1-0 up. And then Steve Humphries equalised when he ran full length at pitch and had a screaming shot. So they're not, I won't say they're an easy team to play. They're fighting for the life, so they're not going to make it easy for us. And I can't say what Connor's going to pick, what side he's going to pick. I've no idea who he's going to pick. And I said we can't give them as much width as we gave away on Saturday at Mansfield. We were too narrow. So I don't know what his game plan's going to be, but we can't let a side have too much width. So.
No, I think it's a good point there. I'll mention Craig because I mean, he had 2 days before from Clark being sacked to taking over, and there's not really too much he can do. He's not going to come and rip up the book as such and sort of change how we're going to play. But now he's had a week. He's had a chance to actually get across and articulate what he wants from players. And I know, especially as you said there at the start of the show, it seemed very chaotic. Especially in that first half of sort of who's playing where. I know when I saw the lineup, I had no idea what formation or who's playing at all as such. So do you think there's not more pressure but more of an expectation this time to see something different or to see some changes as you mentioned earlier?
Well, yeah, because he's had a full week with him now. He said after he took the job that he wanted to fetch this more patient passing play. I don't know how that's going to go down at home. Our fans don't tend to like the passing around the back so much. Personally, I know why they do it and I understand it, but our fans just want you to hoof it up front and score, and that's what they expect every time you get the ball. If you hoof it up and you lose the ball, the boo. If you pass it around back, the boo. It's astonishing. But if he wants to face this passing play to Oakwell, he's got to realise the limitations of the squad he's got. Like, there's been a lot of players that have struggled to pass it 5 yards this season, and I think that's no exaggeration. To play like that, you need lots of movement. That's been limited, especially from the people who've been playing up the pitch. I mean, you've got the formation, and they stick to that formation and don't move. For me, you've got to allow Keeler Dunn to roam around and do what he wants. You've got to allow Humphries to do the same. Waters has got to start, if you're going to play Waters, he's got to start trying to make runs in behind, because that's been lacking the past few games, and it's not keeping their defence honest. He stopped doing it because he never gets the ball. I understand why he stopped doing it, but as a football player, your job's there to do that job. You stop doing that job, then it puts so much more on the rest of the team to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat. And like I say, it's just work ethic and showing that you want it. So they're the sort of things I want to see. But personally, if he wants to play that sort of football, I think he's got a busted flush in his hands. Because number one, I think the squad limitations don't allow for that to happen. I think we'll be pressed and lose the ball. Because I don't think the composure on the ball from a lot of the players is a high enough standard. We ain't got enough press resistant players. And Wakali is press resistant. He can pivot on the ball. And Connell can do it when he's playing at the top of his game. Phillips can do it. Other than that, O'Keefe, no. Pines panics if he gets closed down fast. Roberts just hoofs it forward. I think there's too much work there to change the style that much. So I think he's trying to do too much in too short a time. You need a full pre-season to be able to play that sort of football to a decent enough standard in League One. and I just don't think he's got the time. So that is another reason why I think it's going to be a particularly hard game, because the style that he wants to play, I don't think we can do it.
I think it's weird as well that he says he wants to do that, then left Emwakali on the bench at the weekend, which is you've got one player that can really help with that, and then to not start him is it just them two things just don't really make sense and go hand in hand. And I think the sign of a good coach, I feel like it's a lot of young coaches and managers going through now, almost like Russell Martin's the gold standard that came out, and a lot of managers are going to follow that suit because they're all getting taught and shown how Pep Guardiola does it because he was the best in the world at the time. And it's all well and good when you've got Rodri in middle that can do that and recycle possession and keep your finger, but it's a bit different when you've got Luca Connell in there, which no disrespect to Connell, but he's just not as good as Rodri.
It's not just that, but you can only do that if you have the best players in your division. Like Birmingham could play a style of that and be pretty successful in League One. But as soon as they go to the Championship, they're going to get spat out and chewed up. Or chewed up and spat out. You know what I mean? Because they're not going to have the best players in the division anymore. Only the elite players in the division can play like that. So either elite League One players or the best of the best in the Championship will be able to do it, which is why Leeds do so well. And Southampton, when they went up, they did so well because they're the best players in their positions. I don't. I hate this. I hate. I've said it many a time. Pep Guardiola for me ruined football when he brought that style in because he made everybody believe the way to play is to keep the ball and make it boring. And that's what he's done. So every team passes it round the back. Every keeper's got to be play like a quarterback in American football. You know, pinpoint precision passes. You've got people don't understand what it takes to play like Man City and like Barcelona did. Look at the movement of the players. The wing backs are so high, so wide. The movement from the attacking three is it's mesmerizing. They don't stop moving. I'm sorry, but in League One, players stop moving. They're not that fit, you know. And the passing is precise, precision. The first touch is deft, and it's just not like that in League One. You know what I mean? People can't pass it 5 yards. And the first touches on some of the players, I mean, it just you can't play like Pep in League One. It's just not going to work. You might get the odd goal like we had that one goal under Stendhal after 18 months that everybody watches and it's like prime Barnsley. And it's like, dude, that happened once. And it was a really good goal, don't get me wrong, and I enjoyed it. And I retweeted it. But look, that was once in our long. You know, it just doesn't work. What you need to do in this league is you need to be fitter than everybody else. You need to have the heart and the desire. You need to have a good tactician. You need to have somebody that can find a way to unlock a defence, whether it's a ball over the top, whether it's playing really wide and getting wing backs forward and putting balls into the box, whether it's shooting from edge of area more often because these goalkeepers have got slippy hands in this league. You know, the ball can go anywhere. You go to the Premier League and it's like they've got glue on the gloves. Some of them. You know what I mean? You've got to understand the standard you're playing at. And that's what you've got to put at the forefront of your mind when you're thinking about how you're going to play. So if Connor wants to come and play pep ball or whatever, it's not going to work.
It is a bit. I mean, when you look at sort of the coaches we've had, Al previously, and they've. I mean, up until that point, we had sort of a lot of varying styles that were all cemented on hard work first, from sort of Stendhal, Schruber through to Val, but all played very differently. Especially when you look at Val, it was very much launch it as long as you can and run as fast as you can for as long as you can, and we'll see what happens. And it's sort of the mark of a good coach of being malleable to what tools you've actually got available. Val came in, realised we can't pass out from back, so Ellie Canderson, you just launch it forward, and we'll let these lads just chase after it for you.
It is, isn't it? And I know you're on about Connor and that he only had 2 days, but I don't buy that. He's been there all season, not coaching staff, and he knows the lads.
He has, but it's not been his final. It's not his final call up until 2 days ago of what we actually do. I see. I see what you're saying. Is part of coaching staff.
I've only had him 2 days.
Yeah.
You know, He's been part of set up behind the scenes, and the only one we fetched in is Tom Harmon as extra into to supplement. All I want to see is this: play for shirt. We haven't seen that this season. We haven't seen him play for shirt, and I want to see 90 minutes. I want to see 90 minutes, blood and guts, and not capitulating and not giving their all. Because we haven't seen him play 90 minutes. We've seen him in 45 minutes first half and 45 minutes second, or a mixture at two. And the Reds have gone down. They've got to be more stoic. And if we see that, we'll be happy, because that's all we want. A Barnsley side to be a Barnsley side, not to just give in when the going gets tough. As I say, like me, when the going gets tough, they've just got to get going, haven't they? So I'd like to see the football club do the same. But going on for me, on about Enwakali, Russell didn't put a show in for me against Mansfield. I'd bench him and get Enwakali in on Saturday. But it's not my decision. But I just thought there were a few there on Saturday who didn't put a shift in. So Connor's got to sort that out and have a word and say what's going on here.
Yeah, but I think it'd be a good statement as well, in a way. I've been like sort of showing what's acceptable, to be honest, by making them rotations. Right, predictions, Craig. What are you going for?
I'm gonna go 1-1.
Ooh, great. Al?
Well, after Blackpool debacle at home, they're going to be coming thinking we can get some points here. We can help against survival in League One. And I thought same as Craig. I can't see a winner, one apiece.
Oh, so negative, you two.
This is Josh.
23rd in league we're playing against. But note they're what? 12.
That means nothing when you come into Oakwell.
They
That's
have
true.
only lost by a goal, though. They've not been trounced by any team in league. I mean,
That's true, but also the 12 points from safety, aren't there? There's something daft like that. They've gone.
so the Spartan fight back is on.
Millwall, don't forget that. He's going to get them fired up coming to Oakwell.
I think 6 games, 2 wins, 4 losses he's had. So he hasn't had a draw yet. So as I always say, he's due one. So maybe you'll want a piece in bad. I'm gonna go 3-1 to us. Connor all sorted it out.
Who do you think's going to score for us, Con?
Josh Benson hat-trick from right wing back.
And do you know what? I think that's just about as much chance as that happening as us scoring 3 goals.
Josh, what tablet's he on?
Paracetamol at minute and cold and flu. That's all it takes for a bit of positivity. Get your predictions and thoughts on this weekend's game down in the comments below. If you've not got your thoughts in on sort of the game last week as well, get them down there as well. And what you'd like to see change this week as well. We'll be back on Saturday with an instant reaction outside the ground. We'll see you there, you Reds. Oh, go on, Al.
Can I just say to all our subscribers and followers, thanks very much for all your support. It means the world. I'm privileged that you're all covering me back. Thank you.
There we go. There's a much better outro, Al, than what I had.